And right now, before we get into the politics, and most of those who are watching us will be wondering, why are these young people talking about politics? Is it necessary for us, the young, Mr. Faisal, if I may start with you, do you feel like we have something of a necessity to say that we need to discuss about politics, even though we are young?
Yes, I find a very big need to discuss about politics because everything revolves around politics. You look at the leadership structure in the national government and the county government. These are people who steer the counties and the country in general.
Right.
You see, they give direction, and they are the people who determine the prices of bread. They're the people who will determine the prices of fare. They are the same individuals who will look at our health element. They will look at our education. They will look at our lifestyles even, based on how they steer the country. So I really believe as youth, it is important to discuss about politics because for a very long time, we have been in the back end and we tend to antagonize, but we forget to organize. I believe through such discussions, this really builds us into a platform where we can organize as the youth and propel agendas which are very beneficial to us.
Right, very well. And Jamila, whatever Faisal is saying here in relation to living alone, antagonism, and starting to reorganize and organize our politics, do you feel like the youths have a space in the organization of whatever he's saying here, or do you feel like we are just talking too much and we'll just get to where we were before?
No, I can't say that it will just remain the same. You know, politics, it's a game, and in every game, there's changes. So we just hope for the best in anyone who steps in the seat. So the youths, I just advise them, we step in.
Step in.
Yeah, you know, fresh minds. Yeah.
And do you think by stepping in, there's going to be a difference?
Yeah, there will be a very big difference. You know, we have faced some of the challenges like the lifestyles and everything, the economy. So the youth will try to make it better at least and do new stuffs in it.
Right,
yeah.
Definitely. And also a time like this is when so much is being told by people to maybe challenge the youth to come and vie for different positions. There are those who are saying, you know, it's time for you, the youth, to speak up, take your voting card, vote wisely. Why there is so much concentration right now, Jamila? Why do you think so much, or many people are focusing and they are putting their concentration on the youths with the numbers that we have? And do we, as the youths, realize that we have the capability to do something?
I can't say that most of us, we do realize that we have a big part to play in the politics. But yeah, youths, we can do better.
Right, we can do better.
Yeah.
Mr. Faisal, do you believe and do you have a different opinion about maybe we can do better?
I actually believe, you see, once the youth are organized and we decide to move towards a specific direction, there's a lot of impact.
Right.
Why are all the political candidates focusing on the youth? It is because you find that about 65% of the population is the youth. And with that regard, you find that in every machinery the politicians have, they are youth who are running these machineries. Whether it is groundwork, whether it is blogging, youths are involved. So I think it's high time now to also be on the drawing board, to reach a place where we can also influence policies which favor us. We can gear our fellow youth towards a direction where we see results. I think the element of yapping here and there without necessarily organizing does not bear fruit. But I can assure you, one, when you look at the political sphere, currently youth have decided to take leadership. You see, it's no longer about tomorrow is our time. That notion is gone. They believe today is our time.
Right.
And I am grateful. I have personal friends who have gone for political seats. For example, in Majengo, there's an individual by the name Shufat who has decided to take leadership, and he has a track record of philanthropy. So we find also, apart from youth going for the political seats, they have a track record, which shows, and I believe that is, yes, that is the direction in which the politics should take, all the way from national level to county level. We do not want individuals who have no track record, saying that they are formidable leaders through promises which are empty. You see, we want action, and we believe, and I can assure you, Shadrach, we have already met several leaders. Even as I speak, last weekend, actually this week, sorry, we met with over 40 youth leaders within the county, traversing from the CBO sectors, from the youth sector, from the university sector as well. And we are gearing towards a common voice, you see, and that is what is really needed in this country currently. We need to put aside our self-interests, look at common agendas where we are able to ensure that we gain as a people.
Of course. And you just mentioned something very interesting here, that we should be focusing on agenda. And I want to ask this to Jamila, currently as we are playing our politics, we are in the electioneering period. Every single leader is out there campaigning, even though the timelines have not been so clear from the IBC, but they are still campaigning. Do you feel like our politics are based on agenda and the manifesto, or our politics are based on, theatrics?
I can tell like they are both. They look both sides.
Right? Yeah. They're both sides?
Yeah, somehow they are both
Which
sides.
one do you feel like it overweights the other?
Javier.
And do you feel like the things that we have been told, like we should look into the agenda, like what Mr. Faisal is saying here, that we the youths, we should look into the agenda of those who want to become either different positions nationally and the county level here, that we should look into the agendas. Do you think that is something that most of us do, and or you think it's just a word of mouth, and when it comes to voting, things are different?
Without the agendas, there's nothing in politics. The agendas, they are the ones which they show us the way, the path of how things they are going to work when they step in. So it's important when we look at the agendas, and to judge on the basis, we can say they have good agendas. Yeah.
Right. So you feel like there are people out there with good agendas?
Yeah, and they will make a very good politicians when they step in.
Mr. Faisal, and before even we get into more of whatever is happening in the world of politics here, just finishing up here, when you're telling me that youths should be looking into the agendas of these individuals who want to get positions, and we commonly have a phrase that hawa wanasiasa ni wale wale, and these are monkeys that they just only change forests. How do we get to, remove that mentality and build in something new and say now we want to look at the person, the track record, and the agenda?
First, we have to, what I believe is we have to begin with civic education. A bit on, just like the way we're dialoguing today, it is my hope that the youth who are watching to understand that there is importance to first engage in these discussions. Once you engage in understanding that there is need to know the agenda, then now, as youth, before waiting for the politician to tell you tutakufanyia hivi na hivi na hivi, we must put in order our agendas and decide, what, we want you to do for us this and this and this in a particular manner. Like one of the leaders, I believe, who have substance is the incoming, God willing, Vita MP, Mohamed Machele. This is an individual who I have seen even before asking for the political seat. He has heavily engaged in community work. He has empowered youth through starting businesses. These days it's not just a matter of giving a person 500 shillings. It's how are you going to help him earn that 500 shillings daily, because the needs don't end, you see. So for Mohamed Machele, he is an inspiration to me, because he is looking at the ground. What do the people need? Kina mama wanasema, mtoto wetu, sisi tuko na shida, hatuna mahali pa kuuza tuseme tomato zetu. Utapata he will look for an avenue, he will get them a shed, you know, he will build their capacity in one way or another. So this is the type of politics that I believe is very influential. Look at Ruto, for example,
Right.
Our deputy president. I have so much respect for Ruto because he is on ground. He is looking at what are the people crying about. And if it is the border borders saying, you know what, as a SACCO, we need 10 other border borders, he removes,
Right.
you know. So I really believe it's high time for people to first look at what they're seeing visually. Is this person really doing as he is requesting for the position, or is he just simply playing theatrics? You see, where an individual utapata anatuchezea na promises, anasema oh yeah, but
Right.
yeah.
Very good. And that is something that was mentioned on today's paper, where also specific coastal residents are accusing some of elected leaders who want to be re-elected of coming out and speaking about things that they will do, and they were given the whole time, 10 years now, and they've done little about it. But now that we are campaigning, Jamila, and yes, Faisal is giving us examples of some of the leaders who are on ground doing stuff. Do you think they're just doing it now and it will just end now, and maybe once they get to be elected, they will just go and forget about us entirely, and they will be coming back after the 5 years ago?
They were given their chances. You know, if you are given your chance, you should play your cards well. So if your time has finished, give someone else to do their job.
Opportunity.
Yeah,
Right.
the opportunity of working better. No, so you have been given the 2 terms, and then we have seen like you have lagged, you haven't done an improvement or mistakes. So it's high time to give someone else to improve on the mistakes you did.
Right.
Yeah.
Very well. Now, getting into it, Mr. Faisal, just recently, the President Uhuru Kenyatta was meeting Mount Kenya leaders at Sagana State Lodge. So much has been spoken about that meeting, and there has been aftershocks, there have been aftermaths, there has been a lot of, answering to so much talk. And I want to get this straight from you here, in your capacity as a youth leader, in your capacity as a citizen of this country, and your level of patriotism. What do you make of the entire Sagana 3 meeting?
Okay, this is my personal perspective as Junaid Faisal. One, I must commend our president, although people might say that he has underperformed. But when you look at the level of infrastructure development, traveling all the way from here in Mombasa to Nakuru to different areas within Kenya, you find that there is a vision of development because of the level of infrastructure that is coming. And I assure you, in the next 10 years, Kenya will not be the same. And this will be propelled majorly because of the infrastructure that Uhuru's legacy has tried to fulfill. So, one, I must say that our president is doing his best. My mother and father did not teach me to abuse our elders, so I cannot say that nimkosoe our president, but I can say that there's also room for improvement. With such a meeting, you see, the whole country's eyes are there. So with his element of speaking in the ethnic language of Kikuyu, at some point, I feel also was not necessary.
You missed the point.
Yes, that is my personal opinion. It might send the wrong message, and I believe Uhuru is an individual who, His Excellency Uhuru is an individual who respects all ethnicities. He even ensured that there was a handshake, majorly to speak one message, where it is time to put aside tribalism. It is time to put aside the element of huyu sijui ni mweupe, huyu ni mweusi, because let me ask you a question.
Right.
Leo mimi nikijikata hapa, damu gani inatoka?
Red, of course.
Red. You understand? And wewe tukikukata hapa kama ndugu yangu.
Red.
So we are one people. It is just you see, the British, when they came, they wanted to rule us. And what did they do? They divided us into different ethnicities.
Right.
So I believe now it's high time for divisive politics to be put aside. You see the aspect of sijui hapa ni Kikuyu zone, hapa ni Jaluo zone. No, we are all Kenyans. So why are we thriving in our ethnicity?
And that's happening already.
I believe it can. It's a process. You see, it's something that has been there, yes, but it can be uprooted only if we as the youth, as mothers, as elders, put our heads together and say, you know what, kama vile Tanzania, mtu kimuuliza hata sema story nyingi, hata sema ni mtizedi bana. We want the same thing here in Kenya. Whether you're Jaluo, whether you're Arab, whether you're Mijikenda, whether you're Digo, once we have that, Shadrach, I will be able to look at you as my brother,
right,
and not a political rival or an individual who is regressive maybe because of perception and biasness. Right. You see, so if we have that common agenda where we begin slowly, you know, again, since independence till now, 1963 if I'm not wrong, all the way till now, there are things that have been happening. So we cannot change it by a day. But I believe, Shadrach, mimi na wewe tukishikana mkono, and Jamila, together with other fellow youth leaders, they'll bring change. Yes.
Very true. And Jamila, this kind of meeting came at a time at which we were talking a lot in relation to lowering food prices.
Yeah.
And the concerns of many Kenyans feel like President Uhuru Kenyatta is putting priorities to some other issues that are not necessary to Kenyans. Is that what you agree to?
Very much. Like when we look into it, 44% shows that Kenyans are working just to put food on their tables, which that is tunafinywa. Yeah. So when we look at that speech, you know, he was just emphasizing on which side he's on. Like with Raila, the speech was showing like, me, I'm supporting Raila in everything.
Right.
So that one will lead to division of people. It will be the Mount Kenyans people will be forced to be divided either in Ruto or in Raila. Yeah. So
right. And he did also mention about him feeling like he is the best ever president that Kenya had, and looking at also some of the few things that Faisal has mentioned here, the infrastructure. Yes, we may give credit to that, but I want to get it from you as a Kenyan youth. Do you feel like President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his 10-year time of the Jubilee administration that he has been spearheading, he has done much that he deserves to say that he is best, looking at also the previous presidents that we've had?
I can't say he's best, but I can say he was good. He did some improvement, projects, the SGR, yeah, that one, it was a good project. Right. So he's good in his leadership. He did good things.
At what percentage can you rate him?
60.
If you had to give him some marks?
60 maybe.
Percent?
60%.
All right. Now, do you think that that's too low or too high?
To me, it's at least too high. Yeah.
Where did President Uhuru Kenyatta fail, according to you?
Wow.
People are saying debt.
Maybe I can assist on that. I believe it's on public debt. He really failed with regard, okay, even if there is need for the infrastructure element, but we found also there was a bit of corruption, a lot of corruption. Now it could be below him, maybe you see there are people who are corrupt under him, but the main element was we found our debt had grown to about 11 point something trillion,
Yeah,
which to me was very unnecessary. We have manpower in Kenya. We have resources here in Kenya.
Right.
You see, so why are we growing our public debt? Why are we making our children suffer? Because of simply agendas that are far-fetched sometimes, but okay, you can't be visionary, but also you need to look at the ground currently. Buying bread at 65 shillings currently, and inashinda ikipanda kila siku because wewe umechukua deni mahali. Don't you see that is really affecting the people? You see, so I really believe like he should have done better with controlling the public debt, and more so the people in general are suffering. I can tell you for a fact, mama mboga analia, ule wa kiosk akiuza anasema tumefinyiliwa saizi na taxes. Unaona, tunaumia na taxes kwa sababu ya nini? Kwa sababu ya deni. So they really need to look at a strategy in which they can create a stimulus program. You know, it's not too late. I really believe within, you know, I'm a hopeful individual, I can say that. He can implement structures, like for example, the idea of economic zones, industrial zones in coast.
3 months to election, we're talking about...
Exactly, 3 months to election. It just needs one policy.
And good strategy.
And just a small good strategy. Anaweza sema, unaona hizi mambo ya taxes, wache tuzipunguze. This is something that doesn't need 4 months, 5 months.
Right.
No, he can simply adjust them by saying, you know, the fuel prices are too high. We know this is a determinant that is causing prices to shoot up.
Right.
So
let's fix it.
I believe we can fix this, you know, and he gives that the attention that he's giving with Azimio, for example.
Right.
You see, I believe that will really help.
Very well.
Yeah.
When all these issues of politics are happening, and the question would be, where is the space of women? Where is the space of girls? Where is the space of ladies in discussions such as this one? Do you have your spaces, you as women and the ladies out there?
We do have. We are striving to get them. Like we take the example of Suluhu, President of Tanzania. I do admire that lady so much. Yeah. So it's time for us ladies to step in this politics. We also do have a voice in this. We can play much better than the men, actually. Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do believe that.
And just recently there were women here in Mombasa County, those who are aspiring to become different positions, women reps and members of parliament and MCAs. They were lamenting that the men are trying to, you know, cause some barriers and hindrance in their processes of campaigning, and they're even being sexually exploited in relation to getting tickets. Is that a concern that should worry the women and ladies who want to get into politics and also getting into leadership positions?
If you want to go somewhere, other staffs, even though they hurt and they will kind of humiliate us, we try to not think about them so much. We just move forward. The positive things to zieke kwanza, then the negative, we'll deal with them. Yeah. So even if they abuse us and tell us more like we can't do this and that, but I do believe as ladies, if we stand up and say we are doing this, we'll reach far. Yeah.
And do the ladies stand up, or they just want to be made to stand up?
No, we want to stand up. If we want, we want. We can't be made to do something. Yeah.
That's what you say, but what we see out here is that maybe you want things to be handed to you on a silver plate.
That is what by Sado. Not everyone have the same ideas, like tunataka kulishwa. No. Some of us tunataka kujilisha.
Right.
Yes.
Including you.
Yeah, nataka kujilisha.
Paka ujitete. Faisal, do you feel also in this world of politics and the way we play our politics that is quietly male dominant, and you guys are taking up spaces and the women are lamenting? Do you think it's high time that we should change the narrative here as well?
What I believe is there is room for leadership for the women. I have a lot of respect for women. My mother is a woman. Without her, I would not be the man I am today.
Right.
So I have to acknowledge that if given an opportunity, I believe they can also do wonders. I will disagree with my sister Jamila. I believe as much as women are at capacity to bring change, women are also at a very good capacity to bring the change we want to see.
Who's better than who?
The element of betterness, I will not engage. But I believe what I believe, and I say to many people that I talk to, it's not a competition between men and women. It's a matter of how do we complement each other. That is what I believe. As a lady, you have qualities that a man cannot have, and as a man, you have qualities that a woman cannot have.
True.
So it's a matter of coming together and putting aside the perception of women, and there's that element of women wanting equality, women wanting to be the same as men. You can never be the same, because a man will be a king and a woman will be a queen.
Very true.
Yeah. So it's a matter of accepting that you complement each other. and from there you can all shine in your own space. That's what I really believe.
Right, so find your space and make yourself shine. That is what Faisal is saying here. But I want to come back to whatever was happening also on the weekend here in Mombasa. We must talk a little bit concerning that. And the Azimio la Umoja movement led by Raila Odinga were in Tononoka, and there has been a lot of videos circulating online, and it has sparked a lot of discussions. Leaders have spoken about it. We have those who are aspiring and those who are within other, they are currently in positions. They have spoken about this issue, and we saw quite some ugly scenes during those meetings in Tononoka, where the youths were engaging in stone throwing, heckling, chaos here and there, you know. What do you make of this, Jamila? And we are now talking about youth's engagement into politics, and we see such kind of scenes. Should we be worried that maybe in August things may turn out to be even worse?
There's tension. The tension is, well, iko kubwa. But politics, even though it's a dirty game, we should play the game at least peacefully. The throwing of stones, the abusive languages, it should be minimal. This thing, when we start violence, it will affect all of us. So violence, politics, no. It's just like we are trying to destroy the country instead of making it. Yes.
Right. And Mr. Faisal, I know you quite followed up closely the Tononoka rally, and the fact that it was Azimio, and you know, so much was happening there. We even saw leaders having to exchange words, pointing fingers at each other. What is this, and what can we as Kenyans, as the youth, learn from it, and how do we bring that into stop?
I would like to begin by saying, you know, having the name Junaid recently has been a bit difficult for me. Because, you know, when everyone is like, when do Junet? Okay, no.
And he was trending so.
So, okay, that was just on a light note. What I believe is there was indeed a bit of violence between the youth, and this again trickles down to youth being misused. I also believe, you know, politics has a lot of temperatures, and a lot of passion. So sometimes, the ODM people are passionate people. Sometimes the passion supersedes reason at times, and it causes violence, which is very unnecessary during such activities. So maybe my take home, and also a solution I will give after the take home, is despite having the passion, there is no need of loss of life. There is no need of fighting against each other, because you will fight with your fellow brother, and the person who will suffer is your family. You see, apart from them suffering, you as an individual also you will suffer. We can dialogue and debate on opinion, but there is no need of violence. That is what I believe. Yeah, and with the solution now, you know, being part of an Azimio supporter here in the coast, we have organized ourselves as the youth. There is a theme that we have come up with, which is One Nation, One Tribe. And this theme is majorly meant to gear fellow youth to come together with the different ethnicities, with the different you know, political stands, with the different you see, religious background, to come and let us dialogue. Let us come together. Let us do this thing peacefully. We put aside the elements of death in every election, you know. We put aside the elements of youth being used for violence in every election. So I really believe, like, with this approach, we start, like I told you recently, we start with 40 leaders. We're intending to sit now with 400 leaders, which in the course of the month we'll be doing an awareness walk under the emblem One Nation, One Tribe, just to spread the message of peace, collaboration and cohesion.
Very well. Thank you. And I love the fact that you've just said it openly here, that you, in support of Azimio, I'll be coming to you and telling me that these kind of scenes that we are witnessing, do you feel like it may split and break Azimio now that we have the supporters of Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir Mvita, Member of Parliament, saying that it's high time for him to walk out of Azimio, walk out of ADM and find something, another party? Do you think that is a route that we should take? I'll be coming back to you. But going to Jamila here, he has mentioned about different approaches that they're initiating to try and preach peace. And also in your side, as a student leader and also a person who is so much interested in matters about politics, do you feel such interventions should have come earlier and right now it's too late, you know?
It's never too late. Like the incidents in 2007, even though it was little, but it was bad. It was very bad. But the presidents and the politician period that per time to that time until now, it hasn't repeated itself.
Right.
And that's what we are hoping it won't repeat itself. So the awareness, him telling that one nation, one tribe, yeah, that one is a very good one. It will not split us. Like kwa vile we ni mweusi na huyu ni mweupe, it will be a union thing.
The truth of the matter is it likely to, you know, we know the kind of youths that we operated with, and we know the kind of mentality that they do have. Don't you think that one nation, one tribe thing will fall on deaf ears?
No, it won't. We want change. We are really thirsty for change. So it will work.
It will work.
Yeah, it will work.
Very well. And Mr. Faisal, as you also prepare for the One Nation, One Tribe initiative and how you're going to go around and preaching peace, in as much as you're going around, something else is happening at the back scenes. Azimio seems to be splitting here in Mombasa. Is it true? And should that even worry you to some extent that maybe you'll be losing it?
One, I would like to say I'm not a six-piecer of Azimio. I'm an individual who looks at individual candidates with their capacities, and for sure, based on my perspective, I believe Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir has stood with ODM for a very long time, and he will not leave ODM anytime soon. I also believe he is a formidable leader because personally I have worked under him, and I've seen the level of development he has brought to his constituency, the love that he has, and the people love him. You know, he has even been given the title the People's Project.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But then he has been heckled in front of the deputy party leader and the party leader himself, and you're telling me he has been in ODM. You know.
What I believe is, again, in every politics there is propaganda, and apart from propaganda, there are rivals within, you see, political rivals because of the nomination element.
Right.
This thing will end after nominations, for a fact, because there will be one way, you see, one direction. And what I believe is the reason why there was heckling is because Shabal also had his people there. And you found that when Shabal was speaking, also Abdul Swamad's people were heckling. So that is common, especially before nominations. But I believe once Azimio, I feel the game changer really comes on how will they do the nominations.
Right.
I believe
and
it is high time.
Yes,
I believe it is very important to ensure that there is fairness. You see, there should not be any favorism, and more so, they should come up with a decision where the people, you know, the people really believe is the way forward for Azimio. With that element, I can tell you for a fact, the reason why I'll tell you this, my brother Shadrach, ODM is strong in Mombasa, and very strong in Mombasa because Azimio is strategic. How are they strategic? They have partnered or collaborated with leaders who have impact on ground.
Right.
You see, leaders like Machele, leaders like Abdul Swamad, these are leaders who have been on ground for a very long time. So, for example, Uda, I believe, has failed there.
Hassan Omar has been on ground.
You can't say he's been on ground. Personally, I cannot say that. But I believe a person like Jicho Pevu has been on ground.
Right.
This is a person you can see for a fact he has worked. You see, so hata kama mgala utamuua, lakini haki lazima umpe. So I believe it's a matter of the people on ground and how they're playing their ground politics.
Right, definitely. Now, wrapping it up, Jamila, now that we are headed into a general election, I want to get your thoughts as what you're looking forward to in the near future and some of these political happenings. How closely should we follow them?
Very close. You know, but it goes around our daily life. You know, the worst, how they do their work, it will affect our living.
Right.
The inflation, our transport, oil, everything it will affect.
And wrapping it up here, what can you say exactly to the youths who are watching you, especially now that we are busy with the campaigns? How should we even go ahead and how should we go ahead and listen to them, and what we need to consider before even making the decision to whom to support?
The youth should rise up. We are given a chance in these politician things. Like Uhuru said in that conference, that you are being given a chance to work in the politics, so we should grab that chance.
And think wisely.
Think wisely, work upon it. Yeah.
Right. Very well. I love how soft you are. Faisal, as we are finishing here, you know, it's quite important that we just count in days, and it's 166 if I'm not wrong, and August 9th is just around the corner, and we need to sober up our minds and think whom exactly should we should elect. And this one, they say also, equates to the way at which we want to be governed. What can you advise exactly?
I want to finalize by first thanking you, Shadrach, for this lovely session. And my advice to the people is it's high time we wake up. We choose leaders who have our interests at heart. We make sure that even beyond the political element, we should not allow emotion to supersede our reason. We should look at individuals, even though they are opponents, but they are our brothers and sisters. So my message is of peace. My message is of one nation, one tribe. Beyond our ethnicities, beyond our religion, beyond our skin color, beyond everything, we are one race. We are Kenyan, so we should uphold that policy and belief. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, and I'm so much grateful for your time as well. And we wish you best of luck, especially with your initiative there to go around and preach peace. And we also look forward to that initiative bearing good fruits. And we do not want to see any sort of ugly incidents like that of Tononoka. And you guys of Azimio, I think you should bring your house in order. Right.
Thank you, Shadrach.
And thank you so as well, Jamila. Thank you so much for coming. We are so happy that even though you're a young lady, you speak on matters about politics. So, ladies and gentlemen,